It occurs to me that there are a lot of Catholics who either don't know that condoms are evil or don't know why condoms are evil. I can't believe it either. So I thought I would take a minute to give you guys an explanation. Okay, Catholics, so here is the deal. Check it on out. Condoms are evil because the church says so. But if you want a better explanation than that, why does the church say condoms are evil? Okay, here it is. First, condoms are evil, yes, as I said, because the church said so, but really the church teaches what God teaches. What God teaches comes to us from the gospel. One of the things that we get from the gospel, one of the things that we philosophically can observe just from looking at the world around us, is that there is a natural law. There is divine law, there is natural law. Mankind is required to abide by both. Our bodies are subject to the divine law, and therefore our sexuality is subject to the divine law. And speaking of your sexuality, by the way, your sexuality is not dirty. God built that into your framework. It is part of your human constitution. It comes to us from God. It is a gift from God. It is perfect. It is beautiful. There is nothing wrong or dirty about sex. What is wrong and dirty is how we've distorted sex, how we have misused sex, how we have perverted sex. Sex left alone is beautiful and perfect. Sex that is meddled with, or sexuality that is meddled with, becomes a distortion, it becomes a perversion. So when anything in the divine law is meddled with, or tampered with, or ruined, or changed, it leads to pain, it leads to dysfunction, it leads to disorder in the culture. At the end of the day, that's what sin is. Sin is something that brings harm to self or others. And anything that is in conflict with God's law, divine law, natural law, anything that is in conflict with God's laws brings pain to self or others. So that's basically what a sin is. Condoms are in conflict with natural law, number one, because you weren't born with a condom on. You don't need one. If you needed one, you would have been born with one. And number two, because condoms remove something that is naturally part of the sexual act. Condoms remove the procreative component from the sexual act. Effectively, it distorts the sexual act by removing a component naturally found in the sexual act. It is naturally a part of the sexual act. Sex is supposed to be between one man and one woman who are sacramentally united in matrimony. If you're using sex the way it was intended to be used, you never have to worry about viruses. Now, naturally, there's a culture full of hypersexualized people who are having sex before marriage anyway. That doesn't mean that what's right changes. It doesn't mean that what's wrong changes. What's right and what's wrong is the same, whether people agree with it, choose to abide by it, or not. Therefore, condom use, which is evil by its nature, remains evil even if people decide it's not really how they're going to live their lives. In short, condom use is evil because it distorts the sexual act and because it conditions people to utilize sex strictly for gratification. Sex is unitive and procreative by its nature. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it feels good. The joy of sex is one of the fruits of our sexuality. The fruits of our sexuality aren't intended to be the root of our sexuality. It's the result of our sexuality. And when the culture is using it as the root of sexuality, when we're just using our sexuality to have a good time, things get turned upside down in the culture. Now, I said before that when you distort something's nature, it's a sin, and the nature of sin is that it hurts self or others. So here's how that applies to condom use. Sex, as I said, is unitive and procreative by its nature. Using a condom not only changes its nature, but it conditions us to consistently misuse sexuality for something other than it was naturally intended. Now, where has that led? That has led to sexually transmitted diseases going from merely 20 in the 40s and 50s to over 160 today. The CDC recently released a study in which they report that there are 20 million new STI infections each and every year. 20 million. And that's just in the United States. Condom use also has made little or no dent on the rate of accidental or unplanned pregnancies in the American culture. This is also substantiated by the CDC. The problem is using condoms changes our conditioning. It conditions us to utilize sex as something that is pleasure-giving, right? We get pleasure, we give pleasure, but really it's about the getting pleasure. And because we think condoms are making us safe, we tend to do it more often, right? So condom use actually enables promiscuity. So we see that changing or distorting the inherent nature of sexuality has led to cultural disorder. Unless you think rampant accidental pregnancies and the quadrupling of sexually transmitted infections is a good thing. Not to mention what a distorted sexuality does to our sense of commitment to another person. Have you looked at the divorce rate in this country lately? It's not good. So in short, condom use is evil because number one, it changes the intrinsic nature of human sexuality. Number two, that is a violation of natural law. Number three, when mankind violates natural law, it results in disorder. All of this is observable in the culture. Now, you may or may not agree with the church's teachings. That is on you. You now know what the church teaches and why. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, moans, gripes, complaints, if you want to say, nice job, Tim, or hey, Tim, I disagree with you, don't just leave a comment. You know, at Veracast Network, the podcast goes on the air live 3 times a week, and there's a toll-free call-in line. So come on over, give me a call, and let me know what you really think. Even if you are really taking issue with what I'm saying, we can duke it out over the air. So thank you for watching this video. And remember, condom use is evil. Don't do it. Don't use them. Don't support them. And God be with you all. Bye-bye.